Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of TFT Hyper Roll from Mission for Tuition. It's Mission for Tuition because we're trying to raise money for our son's middle and high school tuition, not through donations, but through views. Please help feed the algorithm. Like, comment, subscribe, watch the video. It helps a ton. With that said, let's get right into this. Now, this game, unlike most games, kind of presented itself a little bit early. Checked in on my wife's board since I was playing with her, although she now won't play with me anymore because it didn't work out too well for her when she played with me. But in this game, I found a very quick 3-cost academy, which is one of my favorite units in Yone, and I immediately had Garen. But I'm not going to absolutely rely on that 100%. My commitment is to always buy out that first board, just in case it doesn't go the way I want to. But at this moment, I'm pretty sure Academy is going to be a direction I'm headed. Now, of course, that could have all changed with the augments, but yeah, nothing definitive, so when in doubt, go with healing. Now, I'm not going to resist the chance to make a 2-star at this point, especially since along with Garen, it will create the protector buff, so that will be good as a starting 3. Now, I'm going to put this first fight on hyperdrive because overall this is just a bunch of tanky champions beating on each other. They're protectors, they're bodyguards, they can last a long time, especially Kassadin, who every time he casts is going to get a little bit of a shield and keep the others from attacking, but is enough to get through this first fight. Our first item shop presents a chain vest, and since I already have a giant's belt, you know what's about to happen. We're gonna put the Sunfire cape on someone. Remember how long that last fight lasted? Imagine how much quicker it would have gone if they were all on fire. For your consideration, please see Exhibit A, where we're able to get through the team much quicker because, well, they're on fire. Fire works. Now at this point, the build isn't going exactly as I planned. I'm not getting the other Academy champions, but I have managed to pick up some challengers. I grabbed Samira because she's still strong even after the nerfs and throw an Infinity Edge on her for extra strength. And not to beleaguer the point, but let me beleaguer it. Notice how much easier these fights are with the Sunfire cape. They're not able to heal, they're on fire, and they just go down much quicker. Since I'm fairly happy with my items right now, but not so much all the champions I have, I decide to go with the loaded die at this point. Now, from a scoreboard perspective, we're doing great. We haven't lost a match, but I'm looking at the rest of the team and the champions I've been picking up, and I'm not thrilled where late game might turn out. Now, at this point, I've started to tilt away from Academy and into Challenger, as that's what I'm finding, but then the second augment comes up and goes, hey, remember Academy? Remember how you started this match and you were thinking about that? Well, yeah, here's Cram Session, and we're one of the strongest Academy augments out there. You want this. Now, I'm honestly a little shook at this point because I'm not quite sure which way to go. The Challenger felt like it was going to be a natural fit, but I didn't get a Challenger-friendly augment. And the Academy, I just don't have the champions to hold it up unless I can hold out for Yone, which will be stronger, but doesn't come till later. But this is why you make sure you have a friend at Riot, because ultimately you need someone to help you out. So you can get an early Lux, which will fill in part of your Academy build. You can get rid of the Kassadin because you won't need the Protector buff once you go up to the 4 Academy. And then, look, as long as your friend's on the phone, normally I don't roll till 7, but it was safe to roll here. You can pick up another Lux, a Yone, and get Yone into the match so that you're now getting your Academy straight and you're ready to roll. With luck now squarely on our side, we can get rid of the Samira, get the Infinity Edge onto Yone, bring out Katarina, and now we have our 6 academies, and we can give up on that whole Challenger thing. Now granted, even with a Yone with an Infinity Edge, this is going to be a team effort. Remember, I picked up healing early on, so that's going to help keep people alive. The Cram Session is going to allow them to cast more often. You can see Lux is very effective at weakening people down, and Yone at finishing them off. And with some rolling, we haven't even used the loaded die yet, but you can see we're up to a 2-star Yone. We've gotten a cat ready, and just 1 Lux away, making this team really, really strong. For my last augment, I decide to just try my luck with a Tome of Traits and hope I get something that will work into my team. The items I get ultimately are very, very friendly to what I want to do. I'm able to give Lux just a little bit more power, and then I'm able to get the right items onto Leona and ultimately to Yone. But the key is here, that I'm able to pick up a bodyguard emblem. Now, as you know, bodyguards are going to be able to taunt enemies adjacent to them. I surround them around Yone so that they're going to pull any potential aggro off Yone to begin with. Since I already have healing as part of my augments, I don't need it as part of his kit, so I can go full Titan's Resolve, Infinity Edge, and Runan's Hurricane for absolute maximum power on Yone. Now we have managed to 2-star the Lux, and we added in a Malzahar for the Arcanus buff, but that is a team-wide buff, so it's applying to everyone. This is really a Yone-based build, and that's why I surrounded him with the bodyguards. It's keeping the aggro off and allowing him to do tons of damage. Now, I was actually a little torn on this item shop between the Zeke's Herald and the Dragon's Claw. The Zeke's Herald would have made Yone's attacks faster, but I felt it was better to get the Dragon's Claw onto Leona to make her just a little bit tankier so she can hold up longer in fights. And this fight will really show you what I'm talking about. My Lux gets pulled almost immediately, but the aggro is held off Yone for a little while. That allows him to power up to the full Titan's Resolve. Ultimately, their champion gets stuck on my Leona as their main target, which allows Yone to keep chopping away until he's ultimately able to break through and finish them off. This fight is a real test of the entire system. They have a massive Cho with a bruiser bonus, so it's going to take a lot to take him down. Plus the knockup from Galio is not going to help, but again the Titan's Resolve on Yone allows him to get stronger and ultimately carry the match. And with that victory, we are into the top 4. With our final item shop, we go ahead and pick up the Hextech Gunblade. That's going to come in very useful. We also grab a Yuumi and replace Graves, since he's just basically filling in space as an academy. We put the Hextech onto Malzahar, because remember in my tips video, I mentioned that the Hextech is very useful on Malzahar since he does damage over time, so it creates healing over time. We grab a couple of Yones in the hopes of making it up to gold and get ready for our next fight. The reason the Hextech wouldn't have worked as well on Lux in this particular match is she's not in a quick casting scenario. She's casting every so often. She doesn't have a Spear of Sojin or a blue buff. If she had, it would have been a better place for her. She's being used more often than not in this case just to slow down the other team. This really is the Yone show, and even though it's Yuumi that holds them in place, Yone's the one who gets the final swipe. We're now down to a 1v1 against a really scary team. That 2-star Jinx in the vac is going to be a big problem. She's able to get in and take out my Yone fairly quickly, and while Lux and Yuumi do their best, it's going to be really hard with that Jinx just destroying us. Now, I had checked in and the other team hadn't changed a thing, so I reposition especially my healing so that it's right out of Jinx's ult. The other thing I have going for me is their Jinx is running Thieves' Gloves, and she picked up 2 absolutely awful items that are not going to help her pour out the damage when the time comes. Malzahar is managing to keep my tanks up long enough, and while Yone gets knocked in and destroyed, Yuumi holds them in place, and it really just comes down to getting rid of that Jinx. She doesn't have the power she did, and between Yuumi and Lux, they're able to finish off the fight and lead to a victory. It wasn't perfectly clean. I would have loved to have done it on that first run, but it worked out anyway. Hope you enjoyed the video and have an absolutely awesome day.